Hello, everyone, and welcome to Game Time YouTube channel. My name is Joe, and I am your host. Big game this week for the Kansas State Wildcats football team. All right, K-State travels to Missouri to play the Missouri Tigers, in Columbia, Missouri. Big game, game 3 for K-State this year. Missouri looks decent. They've got 2 wins. All right, they're 2-0. Big wins against South Dakota and Middle Tennessee. This is going to be the biggest challenge that K-State has had this year. Okay, first away game. So I believe K-State will be challenged. I think K-State will still get the win, but I think K-State will be challenged. Okay. This may turn out to be somewhat of a revenge game for Missouri. K-State beat Missouri pretty bad last year, 40-12. So that team is primed for a potential revenge game. All right, so K-State's going to have to be aware, be careful of that, and just really come in and play hard. Okay, I think if K-State plays hard and they're ready to play, then I think they'll get the win. Let's talk a little bit about Missouri. Let's see what they got going on. Okay, got a quarterback, Brady Cook. Okay, he was with them last year. He's returning, and he's got 376 yards so far this year against the 2 teams that they've played. So he's doing all right. They've got a running back there in Cody Schrader. Okay, he's going strong this year so far. I think their biggest weapon on offense is going to be receiver Luther Burden III. And I think, their offense goes where he goes. Okay, if he has a big game, I think it's going to be a long day for K-State. If K-State is able to stop him, then I think K-State gets the big win. It's kind of tough to gauge teams at this point in the season. 2 games in, okay, many teams don't really show their strengths in these games. Many times, some guys may get playing time just so coaches can see what they've got in them. All right, see what they've got on the roster. Some of the younger guys might get a little bit of playing time. But in these couple of games that Missouri's had, it seems pretty consistent that their main role players have played the bulk of the minutes in these games. Okay, Luther Burden has been thrown the ball, most of the time. If you look at the game against South Dakota, he's got 8 receptions for 117 yards. Okay, no other receiver has more than 2 catches in that game. Okay, so he's getting the bulk of the throws. Okay, he's getting all the looks. All right. In the Middle Tennessee game, he got 7 receptions for 96 yards. Okay, no other receiver got more than 3 catches. So it's obvious that Luther Burden III is the main target for Brady Cook. So it's almost makes it easy for K-State. Okay, K-State defense stops Luther Burden, you stop that offense in the tracks. All right. The running back Cody Schrader's had some pretty nice games. Okay, he's averaging about 111 yards per game. In the game against Middle Tennessee, he got 18 carries for 138 yards. So obviously he's going to be somebody that K-State needs to watch. But again, they don't seem to have much depth. All right, so he's getting bulk of the carries. All right, and if you stop him, you stop their running game. All right. Now they do have, I think their backup running back Nathaniel Pete. He got several carries. Okay, he got 14 carries for 52 yards in the Middle Tennessee game. So he's very capable as what you would probably call a backup. But their main running back there, Cody Schrader, I think if you slow him down, Missouri offense has a problem. All right. I mean, it's just plain and simple. So not a lot of depth on that team. So I think that's advantage K-State there. Okay. One thing to look at also in that Middle Tennessee game, the Middle Tennessee quarterback had a lot of success passing the ball on this Missouri defense. So their secondary, the Missouri secondary, might be somewhat questionable. Okay. That Middle Tennessee quarterback, he went for 22 of 36 for 214 yards. All right, and 2 touchdowns. And he was able to hit several different receivers in doing that. Okay, so that's a strength of Will Howard. Okay, Will Howard, that's what he does. All right, K-State has several weapons offensively, and Will Howard tends to pick teams apart, hitting multiple different receivers. So I see an RJ Garcia going off, all right, and being capable of catching some passes. I see a Keegan Johnson getting involved in the offense this week and catching passes. All right, I see Ben Sinnott going off and being an option. Okay, I see Jaden Jackson, all right, going off and scoring a touchdown or two. I don't see Missouri stopping this. Okay, if Middle Tennessee was able to pick them apart like he did, and he didn't have a huge game. All right, 214 yards, but 22 for 36. That's a solid game, and he scored 2 touchdowns. Will Howard could get 4 touchdowns out of this. All right. Then you combine the running game, which Middle Tennessee wasn't really able to run the ball. They had less than 100 yards rushing total. So they weren't really able to run the ball, but K-State will. K-State will be able to run the ball on this team. So defensively, I think Missouri's going to have a problem holding up against this K-State offense. I think it's going to be a big problem for them. The K-State defense, I think Missouri is very capable of being effective against our defense. The problem that I think Missouri is going to have, though, is that they don't have much depth. So I think it's crystal clear what K-State needs to do. All right, you stop Luther Burden, you stop their passing game. It's pretty simple. If you can slow down Cody Schrader in the running game, I think you stall their offense. Okay, if you can keep Brady Cook on his toes, okay, their offense is going to be completely ineffective. So they're not really hiding, okay, what it's going to take to beat them, unless they've got some depth that they haven't shown yet, which they could. Okay, so because they haven't played, very many games. It's very early in the season, so there could be some guys that we just haven't seen what they can do yet. But if I'm looking at what they've shown us, it seems pretty straightforward on how to slow this team down. It's just going to be a matter of K-State being in position to do that. Okay, and when you go mano a mano, all right, can you stop Luther Burden? Okay, as a corner and a safety, can you prevent him from going off for 100+ yards? Okay, and if you can do that, then the Missouri is going to have a hard time scoring. Okay, I mean, I think they're just going to have a hard time scoring anyway. But all right, so my prediction in this game, okay, I predict a K-State win, 38-17. I really do not think that the Missouri defense will slow down this offense. It could get worse. Okay, if it goes the way that I'm thinking it might, K-State's going to score a lot of points in this game. Okay, Missouri's going to have to be ready to score. If they can't score more than 30 points, they're going to lose this game because I think K-State is going to easily go over 30 points in this game. So I'm predicting a score very similar to last year's. All right, last year's was 40-12. Missouri had big problems stopping the running game last year. But I think this year they're going to have big problems stopping the passing game. I think that's going to be the big issue for this Missouri team, and it's going to lead to the K-State win. So, all right, that's all I got for you today, guys. Big game coming up Saturday. Number 15 K-State against the Missouri Tigers of the SEC, and I'm predicting a big win, but we're going to see how it goes. So, all right, guys, thanks for listening.